Hey guys, today I'm gonna talk about why what the problem with society is, what exactly our problems are, why our problems exist, and ultimately the problem with people. Now, I guess I'm just gonna get right into it. So, the first thing I'm gonna talk about is the problems that exist in society today. So, the problems that exist. Hold on. Let's get some better lighting. Yeah. Is that better? That's low key better. Okay. If I focus on, bro, respond to my thing, dude. Okay, whatever. So basically, I'm gonna talk about what problems exist. So, in modern society, the most common the most common problems seen across, at least across America, right? I'm speaking for America, um, because I live in America. I'm not gonna speak on Korea's issues because I don't live there. I don't know what it's like. I have firsthand experience with America, so I'm gonna be talking about America. And regarding America, the most common issues that you see are addictions to social media, obesity, poor sleep hygiene, ignorance, willing ignorance, by the way. And I guess this is something that applies to all points of history. Sheep mentality, or herd mentality, or mob mentality, whatever you want to call it. These are problems that exist in our society, and they're extremely common, more common than ever. Some of them are problems that only exist today. You think people had social media addictions back during like the Viking era? No, because they didn't even exist. So this is the first time in history that we're seeing addictions to social media. Pornography addictions, those are new. We didn't. I mean, sure, magazines existed, but dude, there was like that wasn't addiction for many people. The reason people get addicted is because of how easily accessible it is from a young age. So those are the problems that exist, right? Now, why do those problems exist? Now, this is something that goes back further than just a few centuries. This goes back to a few decades. It goes back to the industrialization, right? The industrial revolution, and the periods in where humanity started to make things more comfortable and more easy for themselves. So, as we all know, the industrial revolution uh, was it's the reason that we have all these corporate companies now. It's basically what started mass reproducing, right? Mass distributing, mass everything, but mass producing, right? So not reproducing, mass producing. So with the industrial revolution also came a lot of comfort, right? Because there was a lot less hard work needed now for for some aspects of manual labor, like for farming. Over time, less and less manual labor has been needed as as industrialization gets more and more advanced. So that's one reason that it exists, that our problems exist, right? Because of industrialization and people getting too complacent with what they have. But the other aspect of it is also the people, which I just mentioned it actually. People getting too comfortable with it, right? And people and us advancing too fast. So these new problems that we're experiencing are the result of humanity being too smart for its own good. Now, being smart is not a bad thing, but the thing is, we advanced faster than than our emotions did, right? So, the reason that mass producing exists, the reason that all this happens is because corporates do not care about your life. Governments do not care about your life. Nobody really cares about your life except the people who created it, and sometimes not even that, right? The biggest thing that we struggle with is not solving equations, it's not discovering new things, it's empathizing with one another and seeing another person as yourself. That is the main thing that most people cannot do and will never admit that they cannot do, right? So, a lot of our issues come from the fact that our technology is too advanced for us. I mean, sure, we know how to use it, we know how to handle it, we know how to make it, but that doesn't mean that we should, because mentally, we have not evolved yet. Just because we were able to crawl out of that cave, it does not mean anything, right? Crawl out of that cave, I'm talking about evolution there. I'm saying that just because we evolved physically, right? And mentally too, right? We did get smarter, but we didn't emotionally evolve. We're still greedy people. We're still self-centered. We still only think of ourselves. We can't think of something bigger than us. It's like the people who are able to do that are the ones who have nothing because they know what it's like. The people in power, the corporates in power, people with money, the majority of them, I'm not going to say all because nothing is 100%, but the majority do not give a shit about you. Doesn't matter what they say online. Oh, but I donated $20,000 to charity last month. Yeah, for taxes. They don't care about you. You think they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart? No. They're doing it for the tax write-off. That's it. So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is that the problem doesn't just stem from industrialization. It also stems from our leaders who don't care about us and who take advantage of us. And it comes from the people who let it happen. And this is what I was talking about sheep mentality earlier. Every great philosopher that has ever existed, every single one has not been recognized for their greatness until a century, 2 centuries, 5 centuries later, right? Not even. They have to wait sometimes thousands of years until people start recognizing, like truly recognizing how great these people were. But in their time, they're always hated by people, they're always ridiculed, and then people in power step in, don't like what that person's saying, because most likely that philosopher is saying something that goes against what the government wants, and then they send people to go kill him or imprison him or whatnot, right? I mean, we see this all the time, you know. Even in recent times, the creator, I forget, his name is like something Assange. He created WikiLeaks, right? But the crazy thing is that even though what he was doing was literally just exposing the corruptions of the government during he was just exposing these secrets of the government. These secrets, or not secrets, but these secrets that realistically should be public. Because again, a government serves to protect us. So, in a government, there has to be next to 100% transparency. I say next to because obviously governments deal with stuff that we can't know all of it. But for stuff like the stuff that was getting leaked, we need to know that. We need to know about that because we're the people. After all, every single time a government does anything, the one who suffers the most is us, the people. So, that guy, he was hated by everybody. At first, it was like 50-50, but over time, everybody started hating him because they realized that he wasn't a Democrat. He wasn't a liberal. Or he wasn't a conservative. Wow, that is way better. He wasn't a conservative. He wasn't a Republican. He wasn't any of this. He was just someone. He was a journalist. He was someone who stood for the truth, and they hated him for that because there was whatever. There was no bias in him. That guy, I'm telling you right now, in the next few decades or longer, his story is going to be recognized, and then he's going to be held as a great, and they're going to think that he's going to be held as a man of justice, and people are going to the majority is going to change their whole view of him. And I'm saying this with so much confidence because it happens every single time. Anytime someone does something big that threatens to change the current system of something, everybody hates it in the moment until later when they realize, wow, he was smarter than us. We should have listened to him. It happens every single time. And I have no doubt that he's another example of that. So, what was I getting at? I was using this as an example for something. So philosophers are not known for their greatness until later. Right. I think I was talking about the people. No, I don't think I was, but I'll use it as an example anyway. Um, the people are just as ignorant because, again, the ones who hate these people the most, who hate these intellectuals the most, the ones who try to change what's currently happening, which is most times something that actually legitimately needs to be changed. Like, if you notice, most philosophers, most, I'm saying that might be survivorship bias actually. I don't know. I'm not gonna speak on that actually because I'm not educated enough. But the thing is that people will always ridicule smart ones because we just ask people we don't know, right? We don't know better. If the majority hates on this one guy, or not even the majority, if somebody hates someone or dislikes someone and they're loud about it, everyone just collectively agrees. And this happens at protests all the time. You see people like those guys who go, "Oh, well, why are you here?" And then like the protesters have no fucking idea what to say because they're not there for the cause. They're there because people are there, and they just want to be a part of something, anything. That's so crazy, right? That's so crazy how like we are so desperate to feel purposeful that we'll support causes that we don't even know why they're causes. We don't even know why we're there. We're just I was a part of this movement, you know. You might have heard like one or two positive things online and then you decided to go there because you're like, well, it's good. This gives me meaning. I could say I changed something. the real people who change society are the ones who they're the ones who go to drastic measures. They're the ones who do stuff that no one agrees with. And most times, actually no, not most times. I'm not gonna say that because people try to achieve change in drastic ways, but their ideologies are just fucked. But throughout all cases, what is common is that they're all hated for it. Maybe for different reasons, right? Especially in the modern era where the people taking drastic measures to change aren't actually good people. They're pieces of shit, right? But it's kind of unbelievable to me that just collectively as a people, we're not, or like we're so willing to accept things for how they are, but not willing to do anything to change, to actually change what's going on. There's so many like now, especially like you see it mostly online. No, I don't see it here because well, everyone. No, that sounds like egotistical. That sounds like really arrogant of me, but the majority of people who I'm surrounded with, at least the loud ones who I hear the most, are dumb, right? Or at the very least, not interested in stuff like this. But online, you see it a lot. Mainly the Gen Z demographic, talking about all these government issues. Uh, this government has an issue with racism, gender pay, like all like shit like that. Mainly regarding racism and the LGBTQ rights, which is good, right? Advocate for that. But the thing is, one, um, a lot of other issues in the government don't get recognized. Past corruptions get ignored. Um, and it seems that a lot of people just they fight uh, under that kind of reason of racism and homophobia with it caused by the government, right? Not caused by the government, but enacted by the government. You get what I'm saying, right? But a lot of people just follow that blindly and ignore a lot of other stuff, ignore a lot of good stuff about the government, and they're just there because they heard it from someone else. And number two, they don't do anything to actually change the issue. They'll donate to a cause. They'll donate $5 to a cause. They'll share a link on Snapchat. They'll sign these petitions. What the fuck is a petition gonna do? That is a genuine question. If if there's a government, right? What makes you think that a bunch of 15-year-olds signing a petition is gonna change anything? If they wanted to, they could send agents to your door and kidnap you and make you disappear. They could they're not gonna do that obviously, but they could if they wanted to. If they really wanted to, and I'm saying this because they've done it before. We've seen them do it before a ton of times, and they can do it in complete secrecy if they wanted to. Maybe now, not as much because again we have a lot of cameras. We have a lot of cameras everywhere, but this is not like uh some small organization we're talking about. It's not like an influencer where you can just put pressure on them and they'll be like, "Oh, well, okay, sorry, yep, I fucked up, guys." The government's not going to send an apology video to you. More likely than not, a government is not going to change because of petitions, because of peaceful protests. Peaceful protests are stupid, by the way. It only results in people getting gassed. Not gassed, but tear gassed, pepper sprayed, arrested. Nothing changes. The people supporting the cause are just seen as more ignorant because of, they always get painted in a bad light, no matter what the issue is. Always get painted in a bad light by someone. And then nothing really changes. Maybe a small bill gets passed that like half solves the problem, and not even that usually. What does cause change is riots. Things that actually threaten a government. Riots are, I think Thomas Jefferson said this, that they're necessary for a healthy society. And although, that whole founding father group is made up of a bunch of slave owners, a bunch of pedophiles, a bunch of pieces of shit, that is one thing that I'll agree with, that for a healthy society to exist, the people need to revolt against stuff that they disagree with. But we've, for some reason, totally forgotten about that. Forgotten that it is okay to disagree with stuff and take those drastic measures. Obviously, don't target local businesses. That was bullshit. Destroying another person's business. But targeting things like people destroying Walmarts, Targets, okay, fuck them. They're corporates. If it had not been for that event, they would not care about you anyway. So you might as well do it. And that also affects business. That affects the economy. It hurts the government. It is a serious threat. So now they're willing to listen to you. That is the whole point. Getting the government to listen, right? And not only to listen, but to actually follow up on the people's requests. Now, there might have been a short period where the government was actually for the people, but now we live in an oligarchy, right? Small group of people do all the commanding. We have little to no say in it, right? The only ones now who have any say in anything, not just in the US, but globally, is people with money. If you have cash, you get a say, no problem. Because money equals power. That's the unfortunate truth. And of course now people have shit diets. We have no apex predator. We have nothing that's forcing us to stay fit, to stay mentally hard, to stay stoic. We have nothing pushing us to do that except ourselves. And that population is becoming slimmer. It's scary. It's scary what's happening to our world because of technology, because of industrialization, because of leaders. Human greed. That above everything else. Human greed is what caused everything. Human greed is what causes others suffering. And that is why, to have our current systems work, we need to evolve emotionally. And we need to just become smarter in general, because the more you're able to emotionally connect with other people without ever even speaking to them, the better of a person you are. And the thing is, there's not many people like that. And it's not even their fault, right? A lot of what's your personality is not just how you were brought up, it's also just how you were born. It's a genetic thing too. But I feel that as we continue to evolve, we will be kinder, we will be more empathetic, we will be more willing to see reason, to see logic. There will be less reason to fight each other. I don't know what I'm going to title this video, because I've kind of went on a tangent. I've just kind of talked about a bunch of stuff, and there's not one specific topic. I guess it's mostly about our current society. It started with what problems exist, how it all ties to people, but it just kept unraveling to something different. So I think I'm going to end it here. That's going to be my talk for today. I hope you guys learned something. If you have any questions, just leave it in the comments. I'll most definitely answer. Um, yeah, that'll be it. So like, subscribe, whatever you want. Soon, I'll be setting up. Actually, nah. I'll let you guys know in the future. But yeah, have a good night, guys.